Well, I guess fucking not. Let's try this again. Like many of you guys, I'm a big Batman fan. Batman, without a doubt, is one of the most iconic literary characters in general. Notice I didn't say comic book characters or pop cultural characters. I said literary. Up there with the writings of Dickens, Hemingway, you got Batman. In fact, I think Batman transcends those hacks because he's Batman. That's very simple. It's a character that we have a lot of association with. You can talk to anybody about Batman and it will lead into any different type of conversation. Batman is a character that is defined by variety. It's why he's lasted since the late 30s, since before the Second World War. How many versions of Batman have we had, ladies and gentlemen? We have a current version that we haven't seen in years, to be fair, played by Robert Pattinson. But you know something? That's not going to be the only one around soon. Soon enough, we're going to have another Batman. A Batman set in a world drawn by filmmaker James Gunn. Someone who is somehow controversial in this space of comic book movies. Even though I like pretty much all of his films, I can't think of one that I hate based on the quality of the work. There are people who don't like James Gunn because they just don't like James Gunn, because they like Zack Snyder, because they think Henry Cavill should still be Superman. And whatever your reason is, whatever your reason, I don't really care. The fact of the matter is, we are going to get a Batman at some point, set in the DCU. That won't be Robert Pattinson, like I tried pushing for last year. Don't I feel fucking stupid? So the question is, how does this Batman differentiate itself not only from previous Batman, but from the Robert Pattinson one that ideally will continue alongside? Now, it's not like we're gonna get 17 versions of Batman with Robert Pattinson. We still have yet to get the sequel. I imagine after the trilogy is done for the Batman, they are going to wrap that up and then we can just focus on the Brave and the Bold version. There will come a point, however, where we will have two live-action Batman in the theaters alongside each other. And this isn't something we didn't know was coming. I mean, when James Gunn announced his slate of DCU films, he very clearly said that films like The Batman are Elseworlds. So I'm sure in terms of branding, it'll be easy to differentiate. And visually, hopefully, it will be easy to differentiate. But like I mentioned earlier, what defines Batman as a brand is his variety. Before, when I wanted Robert Pattinson's Batman to be integrated into the DCU, it was mainly because I didn't want multiple versions of the same character on screen. I didn't want to have to deal with that. I just wanted to focus on one DCU. But there is something exciting about a Batman that could be more comic accurate. Not saying that Robert Pattinson's Batman is inaccurate, but it seems like every version of Batman we've gotten live action is someone's interpretation. I've been waiting, like many other fans, for a Batman that is literally taken from the comics, from the animated series, from even some of the video games, and is just put on screen. The prime Batman, as it were. And there is insane potential for that in the DCU, especially considering it is more of a fantastical universe. And people are worried about James Gunn's interpretation of Batman, and I understand that worry, because James Gunn's filmmaking style doesn't really fit the Batman that most of us would want to see. And although I love Superman from last year, a lot of James Gunn isms filtered into that. Do I think James Gunn should have directed a Superman film? Well, I thought he did a good job, but I would have preferred someone more in line with a Richard Donner, someone like a Brad Bird, who did something as pure and innocent and adventurous as The Iron Giant. I think would have made a fantastic live-action Superman. That being said, I am excited for what James Gunn is doing, and I love what he's done so far. And I would probably be with a lot of the people worried about his version of Batman if it were his version of Batman. He's not writing or directing the film. Yeah, he's a part of the process of what this Batman is going to be, but that's because he's the head of DC Studios. Of course he's going to be. Regarding this project, The Brave and the Bold, I feel he stepped back and taken more of the role of a Kevin Feige rather than a James Gunn, which is why I'm not worried as much as other people are about his Batman, to be quite honest. And I know recent comments resurfaced about his opinions on the Burton films and Batman, I think even the Nolan films and everything. And although I don't 100% agree with it, there are kernels of truth there. I don't think his Burton take is that far off, to be quite honest. And again, I would be worried if he were writing and directing The Brave and the Bold, but he's not. All he really did was introduce the story that they're going to be adapting, which is going to be Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin. In that book, it's about Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne, but obviously in the film, they're going to do Bruce Wayne and Damian, which I'm totally fine with. I think those books work for a modern Batman story. They're fun and adventurous, but they have a dark sensibility to it. They have a weird juxtaposition of cartoony stuff mixed with gothic horror. And yeah, I understand why people would be worried that Andy Muschietti and Christina Hodson, directors and writers for The Flash, I understand why they'd be worried with that team for Brave and the Bold. But my favorite parts of The Flash were the Batman stuff. I think that movie was doomed from the very get-go, even before those two got on board. Because The Flash isn't a terrible film. It has problems, a lot of production problems, and some outside of production problems. But as long as we don't see Ezra Miller in Brave and the Bold as Robin, I mean, then I think I'm okay. What I think they're gonna do with the DCU Batman, what I think would help differentiate it from all of them, is by just taking the energy and the spirit of what Kevin Conroy gave to that role in the animated series and the Arkham games and so forth, and just adapting it into a live action thing. That's all we've wanted. That's all any Batman fan has wanted for years, decades. And I think that type of juxtaposition with Cornsweat Superman would be so pitch perfect, so beautiful. In Superman, you have Cornsweat's version going through an identity crisis. Is his legacy worth preserving? And how does he reach his humanity? I think that journey will help him relate heavily to a Batman that emulates Conroy. And what's funny about everybody getting upset about James Gunn's take on Batman, we saw his take on Batman in Creature Commandos for that 1 second. And I don't know about you, that looked like fucking Batman, dude. That looked like the most Batman I've ever seen a Batman. And I think another aspect of why this Batman is going to be differentiated and is ultimately going to work will be his inclusion of Robin. The relationship he'll have with Damian, I think, is going to differentiate him in a very compelling way, in a way that I think will be unexpected and we haven't really seen before. We've never really seen the Batman and Robin dynamic done properly in film. Unless you count the Lego Batman movie, which is the best Batman film of all time. It's not even a debate. Don't even, I see you commenting. Stop. It's true. And this is another great point that James Gunn brought up. Every version of Batman, played by every different actor, is different. Christian Bale is nothing like Ben Affleck, who's nothing like Michael Keaton, who's nothing like Clooney, Kilmer, or Pattinson. Whoever plays the new DCU Batman will do the same, just automatically, by not being the same person we've seen before. And I'm happy they're taking their time with it. I'm happy we're not gonna dilute the brand of Batman, hopefully, by releasing Brave and the Bold and the Batman in the same year, making it more confusing.
You know, I've made it clear that the one thing we're going to do at DC is no matter what, we're going to wait until the screenplays and the teleplays are ready before we shoot them.
As for who they're going to get as Batman, I don't know. I always thought it would be cool if they brought back Henry Cavill as Batman. He would unironically be a very good Batman, I think. Just look at this image I made. That's sick, right? Alan Ritchson, Jensen Ackles, I don't know. You're gonna have to go a little older if he has Damian already at this point. But regardless of who it is, I just want that Conroy vibe. Based on what we've gotten so far, I think we're gonna get it. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm rooting for you, James. I'm rooting for you. I had so much trouble making this video because I didn't know what my point was in making it. Gunn was responding to a rumor about the Batman, not the Brave and the Bold, the Batman, classism. Really don't have an idea for this. But I guess the ultimate point is, please check out our GoFundMe for our upcoming short film KILMER, because we need all the help we can get in terms of securing a budget for that. It's about vampires and all this crazy stuff.
Do I really have to say this? Are we hunting vampires and Dracula now?
That's not the name I heard.
Lay it on me.
Kilmer. Vincent Kilmer.
Two cops hunting down a vampire? I mean, who doesn't want to see that? That's gothic stuff right there. And please check out our film Poncho, which is now on the channel. Have a good one, guys. Stay safe and I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Where are the other drugs going? Where are the other drugs going?
I thought that was good.